Good evening, everybody. I would like to introduce today the theory of the atomic correlation. What is the theory of the atomic correlation? The theory of the atomic correlation is the basic of the planet functioning. Why? Because first, if we understand that the planet is consisting from atoms, so we have to understand that the planet gonna functioning upon the basics, upon the functioning of the atoms. So if the best state for the atom to be in the space is the electroneutral way, then we have to understand that for the planet functioning, the best state is the electroneutral way. But we have to also understand that the electroneutral way is relative. Why and how? So the electroneutrality is relative because it's depending what kind of matter we are talking about. For example, if we are talking about water, the electroneutrality for the atoms of the water to be able to keep the water in the liquid form gonna be different. I don't know where to put this computer, sorry. So I just want to say that the electroneutrality is relative upon the matter and what we want to achieve or how we want to use that matter. And it's gonna be upon us, it's gonna be relative how we gonna keep these atoms in the electroneutral way, in the electroneutrality, to keep that matter in the state in which it is. For example, if we want to keep the matter of the ice in the form of ice, the middle golden way, the electroneutral way for the matter of ice to be able to keep the ice in the form of ice, gonna be totally different. For example, with the temperature, like if we want to keep the atomic correlation, the atoms of the water in the form, in the state that it's gonna be in the liquid state, in the liquid form. So that's why the planet functioning, even if the planet is consisting from atoms and it's functioning in a way like the atoms do, we have to also understand the relativity of the electroneutrality, and it's gonna be relative upon the usage of the atoms, in what form we want to use those atoms, what kind of matter we want to create from it. That's why if we are talking about the global planet, we cannot just say that we have to keep everything in an electroneutral way. We can rather say we have to keep everything in the middle golden way, because the electroneutral way is relative, and that's why generally we are saying the middle golden way. Because the middle golden way is saying about everything, but if we are saying the electroneutrality, if we are saying the electroneutral way, so we cannot set everything into the electroneutral way, because many things are consisting from the atoms from the same atoms like it's with the water, like I showed it with the water. I'm gonna show it like this. So if you see, we have the water, we have the liquid matter, which is consisting from 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. This consistence of this matter gonna be the same upon the calculations upon the atoms. The difference gonna be upon the way how we want to use it. The difference gonna be of the electroneutral way upon the relativity of the subject which is using those atoms and what form wants to use those atoms for what kind of usage. So even if we are talking about the same atoms, everything is the same, but the electroneutrality is relative upon the usage of the atoms, how we want to use the atoms. Why? Because we need totally different temperature to keep the water in a water form, to not get it frozen, to not get ice, but we need a totally different temperature if we want to achieve the steam. The atom's gonna be the same, but the electroneutrality gonna be relative upon us for what we want to use those atoms, how we want to keep those atoms in what kind of form. So it's very interesting that the whole planet is consisting from atoms. The planet is functioning, the whole planet is functioning like one big atom because it's consisting from atoms. And if the atoms are working like they are working, so the whole planet is consisting from atoms, so the planet cannot work in a different way, just like in a way like the atoms do. So this is very important, but we have to accept and understand the importance of the middle golden way, why it's more general, and what's the difference between the electroneutrality and between the middle golden way. So the electroneutrality is about the equal protons and electrons of the atom, and is the best state for the atom to keep it in a way like it is. For the planet, it's the same thing. The electroneutrality is the best form to keep the whole planet like the atom equal, functioning, and alive as long as possible. But as the electroneutrality, thanks to the human beings, got relative upon the usage of the atoms, we cannot just say electroneutrality, because for the same atoms we can show already 3 different forms how to keep the atoms in different matter, and for this different matter the electroneutrality, the middle golden way, gonna be different. The temperature to keep the matter in the form like it is, the middle golden way of the temperature, the best temperature for the water, for the ice, for the steam, gonna be different, gonna be relative. Everything is relative. The atomic correlation theory is relative. It's a very important fact. I hope you are understanding now why I'm comparing the electron neutrality and the middle golden way. Because the middle golden way gonna be the main tool for the planet functioning to keep it stable, equal, and it's not just a theory, it's not just a philosophy, but it's a direct description of the functioning of the science, which is very difficult to calculate because we have to also understand that the atomic correlation is very interesting from the viewpoint that the atomic correlation, some atomic correlations can be calculated. For example, the atomic correlations of the water can be calculated. If you are adding some chemicals, other atoms, and you want to create other liquid, you can calculate the atomic correlations and you're gonna get what you want to get. But the atomic correlations is not just about water. The atomic correlations is not just about simple things. The atomic correlation is about the whole planet functioning, how the whole planet is functioning. The atomic correlation is about how the whole planet is functioning, and it's very interesting that the simple, the easy things can be calculated, but if we are talking about the collective psyche, if we are talking about the global politics, if we are talking about the global warming, and if we are talking about the space atomic actions and reactions which are happening all over the planet, so by the human being cannot be calculated because there is no human being with a quantum brain which would be able to calculate that many atoms, because the whole planet, the existence of the planet is an atomic correlation. It's an atomic correlation, and there is no human being who would calculate you and doing calculations to explain you the planet functioning, because it's impossible. But it's very interesting that we got a different tool, similar, which is used in relation with the Einstein's time relativity. Because the Einstein's time relativity is something what we all know, what is existing but cannot be calculated, but we can feel it. We can feel it, we can feel the different time passing. For example, if you are traveling somewhere and your brain is entertained by something, so the way of the traveling, even if it's the same distance, is passing relatively in a different way for you, like for someone who is, for example, bored and cannot wait when they're gonna arrive to the destination. And upon these feelings, we got proved the Einstein's time relativity. And it's very interesting that in relation with the atomic correlation, the things which these things can be calculated, like with the water. But for example, if we are talking about the collective psyche, which I'm gonna explain you later, So we cannot do calculations if I'm gonna talking about the natural disasters in relation with the global warming. We cannot calculate because it's enormous amount of atoms. It's not just about few atoms which are creating, for example, water. It's much more complicated. And everything on this planet is consisting from atoms, everything. And everything is creating actions and reactions. So if you can understand what I'm trying to tell you, you can understand already the functioning of the planet. And slowly, step by step, we're gonna get to the point why and what is going on and why everything is in a cyclic way happening after few years or similar things are happening, but the human beings are not learning from it, but they are keep going and doing the same shit. Sorry for this, but this is the truth. So what's the importance of this? That even we have no quantum brains to calculate the atomic correlations of the natural disasters or the atomic correlations of the collective psyche, which when it's creating too much evil, too much bad, because everything is consisting from atoms, even if it's an action of a human being, even if it's a idea, even if it's a thought, even if it's a spoken word, everything is from atoms, everything is existing. We can't calculate it. You cannot calculate that the ideas, what I'm getting in my brain, they have to exist, because if they would not exist, I could not speak it. If I could not speak it, it would be not in space and you would not hear it. But it's my words are existing, my ideas, my thoughts are existing because they got created in my brain. I'm talking to you directly. You are getting those atoms, and your brain is that much smart that can process my sound waves, and you're gonna get again your thoughts, your ideas, which you're gonna create in your brain upon your atomic correlations of your brain with my spoken words. And if you would say that this is impossible, what I'm talking about, it's not impossible. Why? Because, first of all, if those things, even if it's just an idea, even if it's a spoken word, if it's not existing, if it's not consisting from atoms, how is it possible that if you step into a room where 5 people are arguing and they are creating stress and nervosity, you're gonna get nervous, you're gonna feel bad. So if it's not existing, it cannot be calculated because there is no one who would calculate this. But if you can feel how those, I'm calling it bad atoms, because someone who is fighting and creating bad feelings, they are creating bad atoms. In a scientific way, no one was thinking about good atoms and bad atoms because it's impossible to calculate what is good, what is bad. But we can feel it. We can feel what is good and what is bad. By stepping into a room where 5 people are fighting, we're gonna feel what is bad. Even if it's invisible, your body gonna react. So it exists. It's existing. It is in the space. and it's creating good or bad, good or evil. And these creations are like Tetris because everything is atomic correlation and everything is like produced more and more. It's impossible to calculate these things because there is no quantum brain for this theory of mine. But we don't need the quantum brains. We don't need trillions of calculations to prove my words. It's enough to step into the room where 5 people are fighting, what they are creating in that space. And if we're gonna step into the room where 5 people are having fun, enjoying their time, feeling happily, creating good atoms, and you're gonna feel good. This is the difference between the good and the bad. And if you can feel the good and the bad in the small room, then you can feel the good and the bad in the society. And for example, what's going on right now in the global society? Everywhere is too much evil, too many fights and conflicts. People are fighting, they are creating more bad. They are creating the atoms of bad, which gonna correlate with the atoms of bad, and it's gonna be much easier to create more evil. And it's like a domino effect. It's like a domino effect. What's going on with the planet, with the global society? Why the conflicts are starting? The collective psyche, what I'm talking about, is the space, the era of the planet, which is invisible but feelable. The planet is the planet has tools to neutralize. If there is too much evil, too many bad things are happening all over the planet, so it needs to neutralize itself to not create the total collapse, the total evil of everything. It's very easy. If 2 people are arguing and they are creating pressure, bad atoms, bad atomic correlations, in the end, they're gonna get into fight to neutralize the pressure between them. And after the fight, they feel again good, okay. Just in relation with the global nation and with the atoms of evil, which is impossible to calculate, it's different little bit because it's not just about verbal fight or little fight between 2 people and after the neutralization they are again friends. In the global politics, in the global society, these evil atoms are creating the devils and the devils are getting into fight to destruct each other, and it's the automatic neutralization system of the planet to not let the subjects which are creating the evil to create more evil. It needs to stop, so it's neutralized itself by itself. And where is the worst situation, where is the biggest amount of evil of the bad atoms? There the wars are starting. The planet is not set in a way that, okay, if in the global society there is too much bad atomic correlations, so we're gonna let and destruct the subjects which are creating the atomic correlation of good. The only key to stop the cyclic wars in the society is to try to take over the control of the collective psyche globally with the connected global nation, which means that to open people's eyes that everything has a solution, everything can be solved, but we need to know the basics, we need to know why the things are happening, and just upon those things we can do the steps and save the planet together. Because now we are in a domino effect. Everything is getting more pressure, everywhere is more bad, everywhere is more evil. The atomic correlation of the bad is more than the good. The wars are creating more conflicts and fights, also in different parts of the planet, but they are connected with the ongoing wars because they are creating groups of people who are supporting one part, another part. People who were not in fight before got in fight because of the ongoing war. And this is creating more and more evil and pressure, not just with the public society, but also between the politicians, between the nations, and between the background. And this is the worst thing, that everyone is just saying, okay, the leaders decided to start a war. The leaders are responsible for what's going on. The leaders are in the grip of calculations. The leaders got into their positions because they had to get there. The politician situation is not just upon one leader, it's about the global politics. The global politics is forming its way upon the calculations, upon the atomic correlations of the society, how people are acting, how people are bad to each other, how people are creating and generating the atomic correlation of the evil. And this is not just about the leaders. Everything is connected, one for all for one. What's going on in the society, it's going on in the politics, and it's connected. But generally, in the society, the global human nation is creating the evil, and the politician situation is creating the way to be able to neutralize the catastrophic future which we can achieve if we would not do the steps, or if there would be no automatic neutralization system of the planet. Everything is connected, everything is solved, everything has a solution. Just we need to know the keys. We need to know why and what is going on. If we get the point of everything, we can take over the control. We can open people's eyes that, hey, stop creating groups, stop support this group, stop support that group. Don't be on one side or on another side. Be neutral. Be neutral. Not create more evil. Not create the atomic correlation of the bad. Stop it. Be neutral. Let's start to spread love, peace, the atomic correlation of good. And more people gonna do the steps in this way. So in the end, if everyone is gonna act in this way, we can achieve that we're not gonna getting into the period of time that soon we are already in the Third World War. because the war, the fight is going on all over the planet, all over the planet. So the social media is directly supporting the spreading of the atomic correlation of the bad, of the evil. Because through the social media, people are getting into groups. Nowadays, the social media is just about bad things. About bad things. And it's creating more bad things, it's creating more bad atomic correlations upon the collective psyche because more people are getting into fight, even if just through the social media. But they are already in fight. Their bodies are creating the atoms of bad, which you cannot say that, okay, if you can prove me with a calculation that the bad exists, it's impossible because everything is from atoms. But we can feel it, just like the Einstein relativity. We can feel it that it exists and it is causing good or bad feeling. So it's causing good or bad in the society. If it's causing too many bad things in the society, in the end of the day, the society starts to neutralize itself by the conflicts, by the war. And if it's creating good ethnic correlations, so there is no problem because everything is fine, everything is going on, everything is creating good. With the good things, there is never a problem. With the bad things is the problem. And the main problem of nowadays is that the bad things are in a domino effect and people are getting attached. We are daily getting people into fight. And you're gonna say, okay, why the leaders not stop the war? The politician situation is not set in a way that the leaders would find the solution until in the society there is too much evil, the atomic correlation of the bad, the planet functioning, not gonna let the politicians find a way to achieve the peace. If the society gonna neutralize itself upon the calculations that there's gonna be the decreased evil, then the war gonna find the solution and the way to agree and create peace. But this gonna end in can end in two ways. One way, what I said already, that there's gonna be a neutralization of the subjects who are creating the evil, and they're gonna be distracted to not let them to create more evil. And if the calculation is gonna achieve the decrease of the subjects of the evil, the war gonna find the way for the peace. But if not, the destruction gonna continue. Or there's another solution. We gonna requalify people opening their eyes that the bad and the good exist. Why? What's going on? We gonna let them and help them to create atomic correlation of good. And if we're gonna help them and we're gonna let them to create atomic correlation of good, the automatic system of the planet functioning will not need to destruct the subjects who are creating the evil because they're gonna be requalified and they're not gonna create any more evil but just good, and then the conflict's gonna find the way out from the situation in which they are, and the wars gonna stop, and the world peace can be achieved. This is what you're gonna say, this is just a theory. I was thinking so many days how to explain you these things in the easiest and most understandable way in relation with the atomic correlations, which are possible to calculate, which are impossible to calculate, which are visible, which are invisible, feelable, not feelable. So I hope after this half an hour presentation, you got my point. What about the collective psyche is, what it is creating in the society, and how those things can end. If we got through this, we can continue and talk about the atomic correlation of the global warming. The atomic correlation of the global warming. If the atoms in relation with the global warming are out of the middle golden way, the planet automatically neutralizing itself, because they need to disrupt the atoms which are causing bad in relation with the nature. If they are causing bad in relation with the nature not gonna let itself to destruct. The planet is letting itself to destruct. It's true, but not totally, because after different levels, we are getting actions and reactions, and we are getting the natural disasters, which are naturally neutralizing the not necessary atoms, which are causing more bad in the nature than good. So, also in relation with the global warming, the atomic correlation, what's going on, cannot be calculated, but can be understandable, or we can understand it upon the history, upon the facts, what was going on before, how it was before, how it was after. For example, how everything totally changed after the industrial and digital revolution, when the mass productions of the atoms of different how I would say, of different things started to produce in a mass way. So it started to getting out the planet functioning from the middle golden way, and the middle golden way is set widely, but if we are achieving the I would say extreme border of the middle golden way, so the planet is reacting and it's neutralizing the atomic correlations which are out of the middle golden way. Then when the atoms are get in the middle golden way, when they are back in the middle golden way, everything is again fine with the weather. We got proved it with the weather. We got proved it with the ongoing natural disasters. And it's not just about the mass production of the atoms, which are causing bad in the nature, but in relation with the global warming, I have to mention the digital revolution. The digital revolution, which is the biggest enemy of the global warming because it's creating the electric radiation cover all over the planet. And we have to know and understand that the Earth's core is from the same matter as the sun is. We are connected with the sun all the time. The global warming is not just about the ozone layer, that we are heated directly stronger from the sun and everything is more intense. The atomic correlations are in a higher intensity. There's higher pressure everywhere because it's higher heat. But this higher heat is not just from the sun, but we are creating with the electromagnetic radiation a heater cover. And this is one of the biggest enemies of the global warming because too much electromagnetic radiation is not just creating heat, it's disrupting also the atomic correlations functioning, and they are creating the electromagnetic radiation is creating higher pressure also in the planet's core, and there are more earthquakes. There are more earthquakes everywhere, all over the planet, because not just because there is too much mass and matter, but because of the electromagnetic radiation. So, especially the earthquakes are something which is necessary to really talk about because the earthquakes are created from because of the pressure, because of the pressure from the earth core, and this pressure from the earth core is changed not just because of the stronger sun but because of the electric cover all over the planet, and also because of the matter and the mass which is created and which is creating higher pressure on the earth's core. And this earthquake's not gonna stop even if you think that the solution is to do everything, because in relation with the global warming everyone thought that everything, if it's gonna be electric, so everything's gonna be fine, we're gonna be safe. No, we're not gonna be safe, because as I told you, in relation with the global warming, the solution is the middle golden way. It's never good to have just one atoms of something and produce it mass in a mass way, and creating just things from something, because it's impossible to all the time be on just one way and do just one thing. We have to find the balance, the middle golden way, even if it's really difficult, because it's chaotic with the planet functioning and many people are not understanding why and what is going on. And they're gonna say, oh, how we can create with the matter and the mass pressure on the earth's core. If you are talking about one city, maybe we could say we cannot not we cannot really create that pressure. But if we are overthinking the whole planet, how the planet had been changed thanks to the society, how everything got into mass production, how everything was created, how the atoms had been used to produce more and more in a synthetic way, which was not before on this planet. And everything has a weight. That weight is creating pressure because the planet under the tectonic plates there's an earth core which is depending on the pressure, and when it's too much pressure in the earth's core, the tectonic plates need to get out the pressure, and that's why where the tectonic plates are meeting, then the biggest earthquakes used to be. And this is not just because of the matter and mass that we are creating higher pressure on the earth's core, but also because of the digital revolution that we are heating the earth's core, which is also creating pressure. And then there is the other issue with the air pollution, that we are getting the ozone layer bigger, thinner, the sun is stronger, the ice is melting, the water part of the world is bigger, there is more water. If there is more water, the reflection from the water, the sun radiation reflection, is doubled, because it's not just about the sun radiation, but it's about the sun radiation and its reflection. So it's like a double shining. And in relation with this, I just wanted to say that the global warming is not just about one part. Everything is overconnected. The biggest issues are the earthquakes, the natural disasters, and everything is because it's out of the Middle Golden Way. It's not in the Middle Golden Way. And everything is thanks to the industrial and digital revolution, mass production of everything, and the comfort zones of people, how they are using everything in relation with the electricity, and how we are creating the electromagnetic radiation, which is the biggest enemy. It's worse than the air pollution. You would be surprised. But everything, we are getting into the point that these things cannot be calculated, but logically, if we are talking about the past, if we are talking about the way of life, how people were living, if we are talking about the planet functioning, if we are talking about the atoms, about the electroneutrality, about the middle golden way of the planet functioning, so it's going to be very logical that nowadays we are, the human beings, totally destructing the nature, and then we are surprised why the nature is destructing us. It's so easy. We started the destruction of the nature, but the nature, the planet, has emergency tools to not let itself destructed. And then the disasters hit back. It's very important to mention that the worst thing what can happen is not that we're gonna be burned totally, because the planet not gonna let itself burn. The very important tool, the emergency tool of the planet, is the ice age. Why? Because if the planet gonna be overpressured because of the digital revolution, because of the industrial revolution, I mean, because of the mass production of everything, because of the too much electric things, because of the too much electric radiation, and when it's gonna be impossible to neutralize just by the simple disasters like earthquakes, like little volcanic eruptions, like tornadoes, like stormy weather, rainy days. If it's not gonna be enough to neutralize in this way, the worst what can happen that the volcanic eruption is going to start all over the planet because the Earth's core will need to get out the pressure, and then the dust from the volcanic eruptions gonna cover the Earth and gonna block the electromagnetic radiation, the sun radiation. There's gonna be a cover which gonna not let the sun radiation through the dust, and in this way the planet can be saved, because we know that if we are overheated, we are burned, we just gonna disappear, we just gonna be destructed totally. But if we're gonna get frozen, the matter, the atoms, gonna what? Stay alive, stay in existence. So they're gonna not alive but stay in existence, I would better say. So the planet is not that stupid like the humans are. I think we got proved everything in relation with this. Also, that the middle golden way is the best way. If we are out of it, we are getting the neutralization tools, which are automatic. And if we are very out of the middle golden way, the planet has the emergency reset tools to get frozen everything, to be able to restart the life between this, without the society which already destructed the planet. And the ice age, what's gonna be achieved by the ice age? The ice age gonna hibernate the necessary atoms which gonna be very important for the future life. So it's an interesting thing, right? You would say, wow, the planet is smarter than the humans. The human beings are just 25% of the planet functioning. The planet has a system, emergency tools, and is ready for everything, but the solution is the middle golden way. And the middle golden way we can achieve upon the requalification of the society or by the nature of force. And the planet gonna force the human society to stay and be in the middle golden way. So these are very interesting things, and you will say it cannot happen. Everything can happen. Everything is upon us. And about those volcanic eruptions, I think we got enough. We got enough improvements that they are happening already. And the planet is symbolizing something. It's symbolizing that even if the planet's tectonic plates are not creating pressure on the Earth's core because of the mass which is created by the human beings and with the matter, but we are creating it also with the electromagnetic radiation. So in the past, how you would say, how I know this, it like very easy thing to understand is we had dinosaurs which died. Everyone is just has or was thinking that why, or it's still not solved why the dinosaurs died. It's very easy. Those beings were so big, that big, that globally they were creating that much pressure on the Earth's core as they were running on the tectonic plates. that many matter and that much mass was too much for the planet, and the Earth's core pressure could not handle it, and the volcanic eruption started. There was the dust cover all over the space to not let over the sun radiation. There was no light, no life on this planet, and they got died. It's very easy. Nowadays, we are not that heavy like the dinosaurs were in the past, but the weight we are achieving by the electromagnetic radiation, because it's creating the electric heater cover all over the planet and creating more pressure directly in the Earth's core. And we are getting the earthquake. So those things are things that they are theories, but all those theories are proved upon the logical things. Even if they cannot be calculated, at least they can be felt. They can be felt. I think we should think about those things. Also, another thing in relation with the atomic correlation is the global health. The pandemics. It's very interesting that if it's too many atoms in relation with the global health which are creating bad generally in relation with the global health, with the health of the human beings. Why it's global health? Because the health of the human beings are creating the global health, and it's not just about the present health, but about the future health, because we are creating the next generation and we are giving the genetic informations to them, and their lives are upon our lives. And the global health is consisting from atoms of the human being's health. For example, the COVID-19, the pandemic, when the planet, because the planet is also set in a way when the global health is creating too much bad, just like the collective psyche. So instead of wars, we have pandemics. The pandemics are for the destruction of the bad atoms which are creating bad in relation with the global health. The pandemic of the COVID-19 started, and it was interesting that people who had some problems sooner died. So it was kind of a reflection what I'm talking about, that it's a automatic neutralization system of the planet, that if we got subjects who are creating bad atomic correlations in relation with the global health, because they are unhealthy that much, that they are creating more bad in relation with the global health, they are giving bad genetic informations. So for the planet, there are limits, and it's when it's over limit, so something happens which neutralize the weakest subjects. The weakest, I mean, in relation with their health, because the COVID-19 was directly more about the immunity and more about the the thing that people, it's true that they were having more problems with the breathing and lungs, but people who had some problems already, they died sooner or had complications through the healings. So it's also true that if we are not taking care of our health, and then if we are on the wrong way of the evolution, that we are creating more bad than good, there are automatic neutralization system of the planet. This automatic neutralization system of the planet are activated just when we are out of the middle golden way. If the atomic correlations are out of order and they cannot see any solution, just the destruction. So, upon the atomic correlations, we already talked about the global politics, we already talked about the global warming, we already talked about the global health, and also there's a very important thing in relation with the collective psyche, that it's not just about the people who are arguing and people who are in conflict and creating bad, but the space and its functioning upon the atomic correlations is more overconnected, and it's consisting from everything. From everything, I would say that the space upon the atomic correlations I would explain like the way of the cross, that you are all the time in the automatic actions and reactions of your brain. And if you are in the society when you are getting all the time bad and you are doing bad, so you are getting into a no way out situation because you are automatically acting and reacting with your brain, you are getting bad, you are creating bad, and everything is so bad. And this is also forming and creating the collective psyche, but it's directly leading your life. And it's not just about the global politics now, but it's the space, because the global politics part upon the atomic correlation is more about the global politics, and the space upon the atomic correlation is more about the individual human beings and their lives, how they are creating good, how they are creating bad, how their life is depending on the atomic correlations, actions and reactions, how their present, the past, and the future is explained upon the atomic correlation, and it's giving a direct this atomic correlation in relation with the space is giving a direct solution for every human being to choose a way of the life which gonna help you to overcome the way of the cross and help you to achieve the peaceful and happy life. These atomic correlations and the theory of the atomic correlation, as I was explaining it, so I was explaining it in these four main fields of life, because my entire space book is about the main four fields of life. Because the space book is about the global politics first, I am describing it upon the atomic correlations, then I am describing the global warming upon the atomic correlations, and then my space book is about the atomic correlations in relation with the global whole, and my space book in the fourth chapter is about the space directly, the functioning, the atomic correlations, the solutions for people, and explaining the past, the present, the future upon the actions and reactions, atomic correlations. So in relation with atomic correlation, I just wanted to say that, as you could hear, everything is totally relative and everything is applicable, and we can take over the control of the atomic correlation, and we can help to the atomic correlations to find the right evolution and be on the right path of the evolution, to not heading to achieve the disasters, to not head to achieve the direct destruction of the society, but to achieve the opposite, the peace, the happy, the healthy, and the balanced life. And we can do this, we can really do this. Just it's very important to open people's eyes, to open people's eyes why and what is going on, who is the subject which is responsible for everything what's going on, take the steps to stop everything what's going on, and achieve something by our own in a safe way, like to let the nature neutralize and destruct everything in a way like it was until now. Because we can take over the control over the atomic correlations very easily. We need to start with love spreading, with good atoms, with good atomic correlations. We need to educate people in relation with the global warming, with in relation with the solutions of the global warming. Really open people's eyes about the global health and help them to find a solution in relation with their own health. And if we're gonna achieve this, so people gonna get the keys. If the people gonna get the keys, they gonna if they gonna act in that way, so step by step we can take over the control over the atomic correlations, and globally with the global nation, with the human beings, we can achieve something which would achieve just the nature, but in a tragic disaster way, and we can achieve it in a peaceful, normal way. For this is very good thing, I think, is to create monthly events, projects where until launch there would be education about the global warming issues and about the solutions. And after launch, there would be parties with celebrities with sound waves, because the sound waves can also create the good feelings, the atoms of good. And people who gonna enjoying the sound waves and gonna feel good, they gonna creating atoms of good. And if this kind of events would be done monthly, and they would be streamed all over the planet to get connected more people, so in 1 year globally we could requalify the whole planet, we could open people's eyes, we could help them to lose their comfort zones and bad habits, and we can save the planet to get back into the middle golden way. We can stop the ongoing disasters, we can stop the ongoing war in the society, and we can live a healthy, peaceful, happy life. I think these kind of events would be really helpful. First of all, everyone would know about it. Every month there would be different educational programs in relation with the global warming and the solutions, and the health and the solutions, and the collective psyche and solutions. And to help people to memorize this atoms of education and keep it in their mind, it's gonna be good to create them some kind of good feeling even. That's why in the afternoon it would be great to have some kind of musical meetings, parties, to connect those educational atoms with good feelings, so they're gonna remember those things longer, and they're gonna practice it faster because they're gonna keep it in their mind, because they're gonna have some good connection with those educations, not just information but also some good feelings, good connections. And another thing that this afternoon would be to create the good atoms of collective psyche, because if people are enjoying something, if they are having fun, so they are not creating atoms of evil, of bad, but they are creating atoms of good, and then they are creating very good feeling. And if it will be done globally, and it's going to be connected also through social media, and at the same time everywhere gonna be connected parties with billions of people, so they can really create the atoms of good, and it will help. You will see. Just we need to somehow achieve this kind of parties for the planet saving, and you would I would say that if it's gonna be real that we're gonna achieve this, so in 12 months we can achieve by our own the world peace. We can achieve by our own the stop of the disasters which are going on. Everything is really upon us. Everything is really upon us. Now you know that even if something was unbelievable, why and what was happening. So now you see and know that if we are understanding the atomic correlation, so if we are understanding the atomic correlation, and if we are understanding even uh, the if we are also understanding the meaning of the good and the bad, and actions and the reactions, and what is created and what is left in the space, then if we understanding all this, so with already lighted up people, we can do the right steps to open more people's eyes and achieve the global peace in relation with the society and in relation with the global warming. And this is our mission. We need to achieve this. We cannot let just the planet to destruct us, because also we have to understand that everything what's going on is just because of us. Just because of us. We are responsible. One for all for one. We are responsible, and we gonna get distracted because we are responsible for it. We are just 25% of the planet functioning. Now the human population, the human global nation can show to the planet what is able to achieve in 12 months, that we can win against the time and save the space. And we can show to the nature that we are stronger if we want, and we don't need to be distracted by the nature, but we can make the steps to live in the middle golden way in relation with the nature, and everything's going to be fine and all right. I hope one day this my streams gonna find some people who are really, I would say, in a position that they are deciding about important things in relation with the planet functioning. They are understand. I hope they are gonna understand the theory of atomic correlation. The theory of atomic correlation, in my point of view, is something like the Einstein's time relativity, and because one part can some the most complicated calculations cannot be calculated by human beings, but can be proved upon the feelings. And those things are the things which you would say this everyone knows. But if everyone knows why no one is acting and why everyone is in the no way out situation of the atomic correlations, because it's like a domino effect and it's creating more bad, and everyone is just supporting war. Everyone is just in one group, another group. They are fighting each other. But I didn't see any kind of profiles through the social media which would try to mediate those people and say, hey, stop creating evil, stop fighting. You are creating the domino effect, stop this domino effect. Instead, let's try to make peace, love, and share happiness. I really, there are people who are influencers, they are trying to do this, but in this viewpoint, in this way, how I'm describing things, no one really did anything. But I hope it's gonna be changed soon, and we're gonna find the right people who gonna support this theory of atomic correlations, which is the only theory which can save the planet and save the human society, because these things gonna happen cyclically, and it's like a never-ending story, and we can stop this forever. We can requalify this generation forever to prepare this planet for the next generation already in the middle golden way, and let them know about the planet functioning, to be able to keep the middle golden way in the middle golden way, and not let them to happen what happened to us, that everything is happening cyclically. They will not need to get into the fourth world war, because they already will know how to live. They already will know what and why was causing. So these are the important things, because this is not just about the present, but it's about the future, and we can learn from the past. Also, in relation with this, I would like to mention the religions. You would say the religions were just religions. In my space book, the faith and the science got connected upon the atomic correlation theory, because if you got the point about the collective psyche, then you will understand that that time when the religions got created, the human beings were more like animals, and this was the only way how to lead them to live a good way of life. So the religions were created to psychologically lead the global nation and live a normal way of life. And this was the only way how could be created the fear between the people and in the society to not do bad things. And people were more forced to do good things. Can you imagine if there would be no religions? People would be not afraid of anything? How this planet would look like now? Think about it. Think about it. If there would be no religion, upon the theory of atomic correlation, what I explained to you, can you imagine what would be with this planet if there would be in the past no religion, and if that percentage of people would be not live in fear and would be not afraid to do bad things? Because many people say religion, no one is believing, it's not true, everyone is just doing rituals, everyone is just saying something but acting in a bad way. And it has no power. Why? Because I'm telling you, the science and the faith got connected in my book upon the atomic correlation theory, upon the fact that people, if they were afraid to do bad things, they were doing good things, they were creating the atoms of good. And it was working. But later, people were doing bad things, even they were doing rituals, even they were praying, even they were doing what they learned. But this was just one part of the collective psyche because it was just about the spoken words and about the thoughts. But there are the actions, people, what they are acting, how they are acting in relation with the other people. And the religions lost their power because the religions were created upon the science. And if people were not creating the atoms of good, the science in the religion way was losing its power because it's not about alchemists that everything is just from one day to another, everything is an action and reaction and atomic correlation. And if you would ask me if the religions worked, yes, they worked. Upon the scientific viewpoint, upon the psychological leading of the human nation. And the loss of the power became when the people started to do bad things. So, this is how I proved scientifically the religions and the necessity why the religions were created. Maybe you would ask me, so what's about the God? Is there a God? Is there a leader? How is possible that this planet is worked out upon the atomic correlations into milliseconds? How is that possible that the planet has tools for every stupid step of the human being? How is it possible that the planet was was all the time finding the way out of the atomic correlations which were out of the middle golden way? For everything there is a neutralization tool. How is that possible? Because it's just one thing that the planet is consisting from atoms and everything is science. What's going on here? Everything is science. But this special project of the planet functioning as it is science and it's worked out in the smartest, fastest, best way. So someone had to create the basics, don't you think? When there was too many bad things, there was an idea to start with the religions. And all the time, the inventions which are opening for us new ways are interesting things that they are getting into the atomic correlations at the right time and in the right way. These are the other things about which I'm not going to talk today. I'm planning to write later, not now because I have so much to do, a book of evolution. And upon the book of evolution, you will more understand how the God is meant in relation with the planet functioning and creating. And it's going to be written in a way that people can decide by their own in what they will believe, because everything's going to be proved scientifically and explained. So it's going to be upon everyone if they're going to believe in it or not. It's not my business. My business is to open people's eyes about the very simple, easy, small things which are leading the whole planet. All right, guys, thank you so much for your attention. And I will try to do more and more kind of live streams and videos to explain more this atomic correlation and make it more understandable and somehow open people's eyes that we are out of the time and we need to act before the nature gonna react, because we are on the very, very, very bad level in relation with the middle golden way. Okay, thank you so much. After 1 hour and almost 30 minutes, I hope you got explained again everything. Yesterday, I was doing those explanations very slowly because I said, okay, everything is atomic correlation. If people gonna see my videos, so they will have to have time to imagine what I'm talking about. And if they can imagine what I'm talking about, they can process it and remember it. And that's why I chose a way to talk totally slowly. But today I was trying to be not that slow. And we're gonna see which video is gonna more be liked between the people. And it's gonna be my experiment on the speed of the atomic correlations. How people are processing the atoms of my thoughts, which are presented in the form of spoken words, which are sound waves, and getting into your ears. You are processing it and creating your thoughts. By the way, have you thought about the fact that what is sooner, your, for example, if you wants to do something, if you wants to act, if you wants to, for example, here's this table, I want to touch the paper. So it's interesting that sometimes we are doing things first and then we think, and sometimes we think and do things. But sometimes we do things and then we think. So it's very interesting in relation with the human body, these informations, the atomic process of things, the automatic brain actions and reactions. Uh, these things are, I would say, because many times we are doing things automatically. And many times I'm just thinking that, okay, what was first? My subconsciousness wanted to do this and did it automatically. Or I told it subconsciously and I did it. Or I just did it and later I realized what I'm doing. So there are more ways of the actions and reactions, and more ways of the processment of atoms, how the atoms are processed, and what action is creating reaction, and so on. So these are also some very interesting things, and to think about it. But there is no doctor and no one who would let you know how is this, what's first. Sometimes this is first, sometimes that one is first, sometimes things are subconsciously, sometimes, and there is no doctor who would tell you. Because also, if you want to do some move, so first you needed to do already that move, and upon the way how you did that move, you remember that move. But first you needed to imagine that move, do it, remember, and many things we are doing automatically. So these are so interesting things that many times in the human body are informations which are there and they are leading our body, and we don't know that how or why, but it's happening. But it's interesting because many times we have that we are first acting, then thinking, we are thinking, then acting, then we have subconscious things, we have automatic actions, reactions. It's very interesting, but generally, the human body, the human being, and the way of thinking, living, acting, reacting is very interesting. But this would be another presentation. Thank you so much, and I hope soon we can achieve the world peace. Have a good night.